Jaya. जय श्री प्रभुपाद। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पदान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रेम। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसति गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं वीरतारिणं परमानन्दं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Canto 4, Chapter 1, Text number 6. Tam Kamayanam Bhagavan Uvaha Yajusham Pati Tushtayam Tosham Apanno Janayat Dvadashatmajan Tam Kamaya sorry Tam Kamayanam Bhagavan Uvaha Yajusham Pati Tushtayam Toshamapanno Janayad Dvadashatmajan Tam Kamayanam Bhagavan Uvaha Yajusham Pati Tushtayam Toshamapanno Janayad Dvadashatmajan Tam Kamayanam Bhagavan Uvaha Yajusham Pati Tushtayam Toshamapanno Janayadvadashatmajan Tam Kamayanam Bhagavan Uvaha Yajusham Pati Tushtayam Tosham Apanno Janayad Dvadashatmajan Tam her Kamayanam desiring Bhagavan the Lord
the Lord,
Uvaha
Uvaha,
married
married
Yajusham
of
of all sacrifices,
all sacrifices,
Pati,
Pati,
master,
master,
Tushtayam,
Tushta,
in his wife who was very much pleased,
in his wife who is was very happy,
Tosham,
some
great pleasure,
great pleasure,
Apanna,
upon
having obtained,
having obtained,
Ajanayat,
Ajanaya
gave birth,
gave birth,
Dwadasha,
Dwadash,
12, Atmajan,
Atmaja,
sons.
son.
Translation: the Lord of the ritualistic performance of Yajna later married Dakshina, who was anxious to have the personality of Godhead as her husband, and in this wife the Lord was also very much pleased to beget 12 children. Purport: Srila Prabhupada ki jai. An ideal husband and wife are generally called Lakshmi Narayan to compare them to the Lord and the goddess of fortune. For it is significant that Lakshmi Narayan are forever happy as husband and wife. A wife should always remain satisfied with her husband, and a husband should always remain satisfied with his wife. In the Chanakya Shloka, the moral instructions of Chanakya Pandit, it is said that if a husband and wife are always satisfied with one another, then the goddess of fortune automatically comes. In other words, when there is no disagreement between husband and wife, all material opulence is present and good children are born. Generally, according to Vedic civilization, the wife is trained to be satisfied in all conditions, and the husband, according to Vedic instruction, is required to please the wife with sufficient food, ornaments, and clothing. Then, if they are satisfied with their mutual dealings, good children are born. In this way, the entire world can become peaceful, but unfortunately, in this age, there are no ideal husbands and wives. Therefore, unwanted children are produced. There is no peace and prosperity in the present day world. Again, Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, this is a very interesting shloka. Specifically, I'm getting this shloka. Not qualified to speak on this, definitely, as everyone is very well aware. So, Krishna is there in every page of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why every page and every purport of Srila Prabhupada is filled with complete Krishna consciousness. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is a combined form of Radha and Krishna in this age, taught us a very interesting principle. Generally, when we read this kind of shlokas of Prabhupada, then yes, I mean, I'll come to this later, but the main problem with all of us in this material world is we are a fish out of water. This is not where we are comfortable. We are in an environment, we are in a condition which we are not meant to be. That's the first point. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the way he established Varnashram in this world, because what is the basic principle? Because we are followers of Lord Chaitanya, what is the basic principle of Lord Chaitanya? The basic principle is the chanting of the holy name. And by the chanting of the force of the holy name, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, one gets to know his social position. One gets to know his ashram by chanting of the holy name. By chanting sincerely, one gets to know his ashram. Of course, ashram is not the goal of chanting the holy name, but the point is that Lord Chaitanya's main activity, whether it was in Shiva's Angan, whether it was Whenever problems arose, like the Qazi stopped the Kirtan, or any festival, Rath Yatra, Panihati festival, Lord Chaitanya's and his associates' main activity is chanting of the holy name. Taramadhya Sarvasreshta Nama Sankirtan. So Sarvasreshta means the most essential or the most purifying, the most essential dharma of this age is actually the chanting of the holy name. So, by the principle of the chanting of the holy name, Lord Chaitanya established Varnashram. And what is the primary duty or the primary characteristic of Varnashram? Um, The primary characteristic of Varnashram running through Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, all four, the primary principle is actually renunciation. And actually, that's why it is said that Mahaprabhura Bhaktagana Vairagya Pradhan. So, Pradhan, the main principle is actually renunciation. Renunciation from material sense enjoyment. And that's why Rupa Goswami, who is a perfect follower, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam, starts nectar of instruction with Vachavegam, Manasa Krodhavegam, Jifa Vegam, Udarapastha Vegam, Etan Vegan Yo Visheta Dhira Sarvam Akram Pratunsa. So, what is the purpose of the shloka? Actually, the purpose of the shloka is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, that all the senses should be used in such a way that one can remain fixed on the principles of pure devotional service. So, that is Lord Chaitanya's main mission. So, by establishing this movement of Nam Sankirtan, using Nam Sankirtan as a main principle, Nam Sankirtan and preaching the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established perfect Varnashram, perfect. To such a level, he established Varnashram that he himself was so strict. Lord Chaitanya would not let any lady come near, even to pay obeisances. They had to pay obeisances very far. And if you speak about like Shuklambar Brahmachari, he was living very simply, without the slightest trace of hypocrisy or false pride. And you can see so many of Mahaprabhu's associates, how strict they were. And even you see the exemplification is Shivas Thakur, how when Shivas Thakur's son died, left his body, sorry, he was so transcendental that he considered that it was the greatest fortune that his son left his body in the association of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's divine kirtan. So, in our ISKCON also, Srila Prabhupada first of all established the chanting of the holy name and the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, principles of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then slowly Prabhupada establishes Varnashram Dharma. Because Lakshmi Narayan, in our case, which is Radha and Krishna combined to form as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are our actual place where we can take shelter. That's where we can actually become happy. So Srila Gauravan Maharaj says that when the wife attracts the husband towards Krishna and the husband attracts the wife towards Krishna, that is the family life that uh, we are promoting in ISKCON. So to become satisfied is only possible when you give the soul what the soul needs. Because on the bodily platform, if you see, from so many lives, we have so many conditions, so many requirements, so, and of course, the nature of a man and woman is in so many ways so different, right? So, only on the spiritual platform can there be real unity. So only if the members of the family, only if they come together to glorify Shri Shri Radha Gopijana Vallabha Patan Varjat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So only when they come together to actually glorify the Lord can there be real peace. Real peace. So Samsiddhir Hari Toshana. Only when Hari becomes pleased can there be real peace, can there be real happiness. Krishna is uh, the enjoyer, he is the protector, he is the maintainer. So only by keeping faith, unflinching faith in Krishna, is it possible for us to be happy. So the best example of this husband-wife relationship, although it may be a little far out, is actually Shivas Thakur and his wife. There was such cooperation between them that when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when their son left their body in the presence of Lord Chaitanya, there was such a good understanding that for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya, Shivas Thakur's wife tolerated. I mean, it's very difficult to tolerate. For many, many hours, they had such a good understanding. And as a result of that understanding, as a result of that cooperation, they pleased Lord Chaitanya to such an extent that Lord Chaitanya, when he heard of the incident, Lord Chaitanya said that Shivas Thakur's family is my family. So that is real family life. That is real cooperation. In our acharyas also, I mean, there are so many examples of, if you read, even I got the fortune to read in Prabhupada when Prabhupada was still involved in family life, how much Prabhupada would be so humble and so eager to serve the sadhus. Srila Prabhupada is a article, Grace Madhananda Prabhu published this article that how Prabhupada used chanting 64 rounds every day as a grahastha, and how whenever any sadhu would come to his home, of course, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sannyasi, he would give them the room, and he would himself, he would sleep outside. He would cook such nice preparations for them, and basically the point is that Prabhupada lived a life of sacrifice. Even as a grihastha, Prabhupada lived a life of sacrifice for the pleasure of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So actually, Lilamrita is a wonderful example of how to lead a perfect grihastha life. Although Prabhupada was working, although Prabhupada was involved in his business, but Prabhupada's heart was always at the feet of Srila Bhaktivinoda Sri Thakur. He was always thinking that how can I spread this movement? How can I assist my spiritual master? So this should be the real mentality of any devotee, of any devotee. It's like it is mentioned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to break uh, this mundane varnashram dharma. He came to break it, and he came to establish Daivi Varnashram. What is Daivi Varnashram? What is the principle of Daivi Varnashram? Naham vipro nacha narapatir napi vaishyo na shudro naham varni nacha grahapatir no vanastu itirva kintu prodin nikila paramananda purnamritabde gopi bhatu padakamalayur dasa dasanu dasa. So Mahaprabhu said, Mahaprabhu, who is a crest jewel who is actually as teaching by his own example, Mahaprabhu said that I am not a brahmachari, I am not a grasta, I am not a vanaprastha, I am not a sannyasi. I am not a brahmana, I am not a vaishya, I am not a kshatriya, I am not shudra. But who am I? I am just a servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna, who is the maintainer of the gopis, Gopi Janavallabha. So Mahaprabhu established that principle in our society. And so actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there are different kinds of respect according to Varna, according to ashram, according to knowledge, according to so many things. But ultimate is Bhakti Maryada. Bhakti Maryada. So that's why it doesn't matter where is one's situation, but what matters is what is the depth of one's devotion, what is the depth of one's sacrifice to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one who considers Krishna has his only property. Krishna's service has his only has his only business. That person is a perfect brahmachari, a perfect grahastha, a perfect vanaprastha, and perfect sannyasi. So that is the real thing. So if we pay attention to the root of who we actually are, that is the only way by which we can maintain any kind of institution, whether it's in the temple, brahmachari ashram, or the grahastha ashram, any kind of ashram. That is the principle. Mm. So, so Prabhupada said that the purpose of our management in ISKCON is for preaching purpose. His Grace Mahatma Prabhu was telling some time ago that how Prabhupada was so revolutionary that Srila Prabhupada he had the opportunity to be with Srila Prabhupada for some time and Prabhupada was in America. That nowadays, the way we manage, I mean, even as you know, in my fallen condition, that there is so many things to be maintained and so many things to be done, and etc., etc., etc. Of course, Prabhupada said that management is also bhakti, but he was mentioning that how Prabhupada was constantly preaching. He never saw Prabhupada separately. Of course, we read Leelamrita how Prabhupada had GBC meetings and everything, but Prabhupada, he was mentioning that how there was no separation between preaching and management. Prabhupada was never preaching and managing separately, but Prabhupada was always preaching, always preaching. So the purpose of management is preaching. So in the same way, if we take the Grihastha ashram, the purpose of the ashram is for preaching, then it becomes so attractive, it becomes so inspiring, it becomes so, I mean, so nice to maintain a home, maintain a family if the purpose is preaching. The purpose is to spread Krishna consciousness. So then it becomes very, very attractive, and then everyone becomes very enthusiastic because there is a higher purpose in mind. And that was Prabhupada's amazing example that Srila Prabhupada he created such a kind of family life that practically when Prabhupada was present, there's no difference. There's no difference between a brahmachari and a grihastha in the sense that everyone was fully engaged in spreading the movement. So that is Prabhupada's extraordinary empowerment and inspiration. Is can see in our GBC that how he sent her and her husband. They had a newborn child to start the movement in London. So, I mean, this is a really revolutionary kind of management that Prabhupada did. So, this is what we can take inspiration from. And yeah, um, the most important principle in ISKCON or in our Gaudiya Vaishnava society, according to our acharyas, is that apani achari Prabhu, jive rashikaya, that Mahaprabhu taught that by his own example, he actually spread this movement. So, to make any system successful, the most important thing is that we can strive to set an exemplary example by our own consciousness, by our own standards of uh, internally how much we're trying to think of Krishna. Because thing is ultimately, as we started out, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. Krishna is the Bhokta, Krishna is the enjoyer, Krishna is a maintainer, Krishna is a protector. So therefore, only if Krishna become pleased, then only people will be pleased. Then only we can maintain any society, any system. And when people become, when devotees, when husband, wife, whoever become attracted to serving Krishna, then that is the real inspiration. That is the real inspiration. And then everyone will automatically be inspired to follow. So Prabhupada spoke about his father, that how his father was always worshipping Radha Govinda. Prabhupada says that although he was a businessman, his real business was to do puja, do seva puja for Radha Govinda. So this is what Prabhupada remembers. Prabhupada says that my sister and I would wake up from bed and we would simply, whenever we wake up, we'll always see our father ringing the bell, ding, 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 worshipping. So this is called the power of setting the exemplary example. So when you set the exemplary example by our consciousness, by our conduct, by our personal surrender to the Supreme Lord, that become very, very attractive. Right? So we also hear how Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was preaching in one engagement, in one preaching engagement, and someone challenged Prabhupada. Like Prabhupada, you're first class, you're guru, you're this, you're that. Prabhupada said, no, you know, I am fifth class. I mean, I don't remember exactly, but Prabhupada took a very, very humble position. And on that day, many devotees, I mean, new people took initiation from Srila Prabhupada. Right? So this is the exemplary example of Srila Prabhupada that was the inspiration of the society. So the same way, if we strive to set the exemplary example and we always take a humble position, to strive to take a humble position, especially, I mean, I'm not qualified, but this example of being very tolerant, being very humble, and trying to give respect to others and trying to avoid as much as possible situations or places where we may receive respect. Uh, in that way, by always trying to serve, in that way, we can expect, we can hope that Krishna will give us his causeless mercy. So, Krishna's pastimes, Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, um, are the real place where the soul can be happy, can be happy. So, um, all of Lord Chaitanya's associates, their main business, their main uh, means of subsistence was actually they were always crying in separation from Krishna. They were always deeply desiring, because these associates of Mahaprabhu, Gaurangera Sangigane Nitya Siddha Khorimani. They are Nitya Siddhas, they are eternal associates of Supreme Lord. So therefore, the purpose of God Leela is that they were constantly crying in separation for a particular mellow that they did not relish in Krishna Leela. Following Mahaprabhu's example, that Mahaprabhu in Krishna Leela, I mean Krishna, but in God Leela, Chaitanya, I mean the same Krishna is taking the mood of Srimati Radharani. So in the same way, all the associates, they are crying, they are praying for that. And that's how they're living their life. That is a means of subsistence, right? Like for example, that how Mahaprabhu's consort, divine consort, Vishnu Priya Devi, after Mahaprabhu left and took sannyas, what was her predicament? She was so much crying in separation from Lord Chaitanya. She was living such a austere, simple life that she would only eat the number of grains. She would cook only the number of grains equal to the number of rounds she would chant. And in this way, she was living like life like that. Hmm. So that is the main principle of Mahaprabhu's community, is that they were always merged in in the ocean of separation from Krishna, always wanting Krishna's mercy, always desiring Krishna's pleasure. That's how they were living their life. So we don't hear in Chaitanya Charitamrita so much about all these this family life, so much description, but what we hear is about their exemplary devotional attitude. Like Raghav Pandit, how much he was absorbed in worshipping the deity. I was so careful, he was so scrutinizing, and how it is mentioned that wow, sometimes Raghav Pandit would see Krishna personally honoring what he would offer. His sister Damayanti, we hear about her devotion, how deep her devotion was to Lord Chaitanya, that she had such devotion for Lord Chaitanya, whatever she would cook would remain fresh for months because of the fragrance of her devotion. Shivas Thakur, it is mentioned that when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, Shivas Thakur uh, became so much merged in ocean of separation from Lord Chaitanya that he actually went to a particular place in Mayapur, actually in Yogapeeth, and he was merged in such an ocean of separation. And Lord Chaitanya knew very well this was Shivas Thakur's mentality. So when he came, they asked Shivas, what's going on? Why you are here? Why you are not with your family? And Shivas Thakur said, my lord, I have no family, I have no life. After you left, after you took sannyas, I don't feel like maintaining my life anymore. And of course, then Lord Chaitanya encouraged him. And so this is what we see, that is their life and soul. Bhakat tera pran. Their hearts were completely surrendered to Lord Chaitanya, and they were helping each other to augment that love for Lord Chaitanya. Whenever there was any problem, like for example, how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya helped Maharaj Prataparudra to gain such special mercy from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How Shivananda Sen uh, was serving all the devotees, doing such exemplary Vaishnav Seva. How Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami helped each other to actually become detached, to give up their unfortunate their obligation to the king. So all these examples exemplify what is Vaishnav community, what is Vaishnav society, and of course our Namacharya Haridas Thakur, who maintained such a humble mood, such a humble mentality that even when Mahaprabhu would call him to come to Gambhira, he would roll in the dust. He would say, no, I am not qualified. I'm not qualified. Even though he was chanting 192 rounds and other devotees were just chanting, may not have been, of course, they're all pure devotees. They may not have been chanting as many rounds, but he took such a humble position and said, no, I'm not qualified, I'm not qualified. So the three principles of a Vaishnav community is Vaishnav Seva, Nam Ruchi, and Jivitoya. So these are the three principles. So Vaishnav Seva means that we always, wherever we live, whether we're in the temple or the home, we have a mentality to serve. We have a mentality to serve other devotees, please devotees, whoever they may be. And then Nam Ruchi. Nam Ruchi means always waiting for the mercy of the holy name. Keeping the holy name, our service to the holy name, as the prime dharma, our prime duty in life. And the third is to help others, to give them the knowledge and set the example by which they can understand what is real Krishna consciousness. So these are three principles of any ashram, any society, and the verse that is the only way we can maintain our movement, our family is Trinadapi Samichena. This is the verse, this is the only verse, because like I mentioned, that unless Krishna inspires someone to have a certain relationship with you, how much ever you try, it's not going to work. So, for the father to instruct his son, the son should have some faith in the father. How the son will develop the faith in the father? How the daughter will develop the faith in the mother? How? Only when Krishna from within the heart inspires that, hey, this is a person you can take shelter of. Right? So, in this regard, I mean, we must be very grateful and very appreciative of Sri Prabhu for setting such an exemplary example. So this is the main principle, Samsiddhir Haritoshan. So in this way, when we take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's principles, take shelter of the holy name, and very important, very important is hear what Srila Prabhupada has to say. Actually, Prabhupada's lectures, from my little hearing, it is so revolutionary. It is so revolutionary. I mean, nobody speaks like that. Nobody can speak like that. What Prabhupada is speaking, like, it's just so revolutionary, so revolutionary. And because Prabhupada has such love for everyone, Prabhupada is pure devotee from the spiritual world. Because of that, Prabhupada's words, although they are very revolutionary, but they are very effective. They are very, very effective. And what to speak of what Prabhupada is saying, uh, even Prabhupada's sound vibration is so powerful. Actually, this is our main business in the household, is we should give our children, we should give our family great faith in Prabhupada, great faith in pure devotees. This is our main business actually. Because the thing is that, like yesterday, I was hearing Prabhupada give a lecture on ideal married life. I mean, I can't even repeat what Prabhupada said. It's so revolutionary, it's so powerful, it's so heavy. But Prabhupada says with so much love that if you try to convince your family members, the father tries to convince whoever, the son, daughter, wife, it's very difficult for us to convince. But when you play Prabhupada, they are forced to accept it because it's coming from a pure devotee. So nowadays, that the way by which we can attain success is by hearing Prabhupada together. Right? So if you just keep this business of always hearing Prabhupada, regularly hearing Prabhupada, then everything will go on very nicely. Because Prabhupada is a founder Acharya, Prabhupada knows perfectly well what works, and how much it should be applied, to what extent it should be applied. So Prabhupada's words are very, very powerful, very powerful. And basically, Prabhupada's principle is one thing, is that we should give our everything for Krishna. Hmm. Very, very revolutionary Prabhupada's statements, Prabhupada's principles. Anytime I have any grievance, mentally I'm disturbed about something, I just type Barney code space whatever I want to hear, and when I read Prabhupada's purports, when I sometimes read Prabhupada's letters also, I feel so satisfied, so satisfied. So we have all the wisdom, we have all the treasure in our life. We simply have to look at what Prabhupada says. That's all. As simple as that. It's very simple, very practical, very practical. So we should become fully conversant with what Prabhupada says so that we can quote what Prabhupada says. And we can also play Prabhupada lectures, play Prabhupada memories. Uh, so that brings a lot of change in people. It's very, very powerful. Like one great devotee one time told me that how when he read Bhagavad Gita, he was not so much inspired. But when he read Leelamrita, then what happened? Then he purchased Prabhupada like anything. Because he saw Prabhupada's personal example. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada is our greatest fortune to come across such a personality uh, who has given us so much, in the form of instruction, in the form of example, in the form of letters, how much he cared for devotees, right? So in that way, what do we learn? We learn that Prabhupada is present now, and we can take shelter of Srila Prabhupada even now in our present life. And if we take shelter of Prabhupada, encourage our family members to take shelter of Prabhupada, take shelter of pure devotees. What happens is their life becomes transformed. And then they have a higher principle to surrender. They see you not as just their, family member, but they see you as a member of Prabhupada's family. Right? So nowadays I tend to remind myself more, whoever I'm dealing with in the congregation, that hey, this is Gopi Vallabh's property. This is Prabhupada's property. I should be very careful. Why? Because otherwise, if I'm not careful, then I'm not pleasing. I'm not pleasing Krishna. I'm not pleasing Guru. Rather, I'm displeasing. I'm going against their pleasure. So that is very detrimental to my spiritual life. So this is very important for us to establish Prabhupada. I mean, Yes, we establish the deity in the center, but first we establish Prabhupada in the center of your home. We have to give uh, what did our spiritual masters giving us? They're giving us Prabhupada. Everything they're doing, everything they're thinking is all centered around Prabhupada's pleasure. So we have to imbibe the love that our spiritual masters have for Prabhupada, and we have to give that relationship to our children, to our family. That is a real sustaining principle in spiritual life. And then if you give that relationship to our family, then naturally, you know, they will want to hear from Prabhupada. They'll want to surrender to Prabhupada. They'll want to follow what Prabhupada says. And that is the secret of the success of what ISKCON is today. Why is ISKCON so successful today despite so many problems, so many things? Because of love for Srila Prabhupada. I heard even, in early days, devotees would be so devoted to Prabhupada, they would be studying, they would be working, but they would give everything to please Prabhupada. They would wake up very, very early in the morning, they would chant their rounds, they would dress the deities, then they would go to work, they would come back. It was like they had no time for anything practically in their life. So, of course, yes, we cannot be careless, we have to be careful. But the point is the driving force in family life should be Guru Seva, Prabhupada Seva. Then only can there be peace. Hmm. So then only there can be satisfaction. And one may say, yeah, this is very high, very revolutionary, very, but there is to some extent we can apply. Like Krishna tells to Arjun, the first thing is always think of me. If you cannot do that, do the regular principles of devotion. If you cannot do that, Krishna gives so many. So Prabhupada also gives so many levels, right, by which we can please him, by which we can keep him in the center. And amazingly, when we associate with Prabhupada, what do we get? When we associate pure devotee, what do we get? We get their faith in Krishna. Krishna becomes so much closer to us. Pure devotional principles become so much closer, so much more practical to us in our daily life that we feel that, yes, I can take shelter of these principles. And even whether we may get external success or not, internally we feel so much satisfied when we take shelter of the pure devotional principles. It is so heart touching. It is so, um, it gives so much satisfaction to the heart when you take shelter of pure devotional principles. So, how that will happen, how we can give that? By developing love for a pure devotee. When you develop love for a pure devotee, when you actually consider the pure devotee as pleasing the pure devotee as the only goal of your life, then only it is possible to follow the pure devotional principle. Otherwise, it's not possible. It's not possible. So that is a real thing. That is a real thing. That you offer your life to Krishna, offer your mind, your body, your words, everything to Krishna. That is a real practical. That is the real purpose of the human form of life. Otherwise, this human form of life is simply a waste of time. Because ultimately, at the time of death, that's what matters. Everything else is like a sandcastle. Everything else is useless. Ultimately, that is the only thing which matters. So we should train up our family, train up our children with such a kind of faith, like Advaita Acharya's son. You know, how much faith he had in Lord Chaitanya. How much faith. Right? So this is what we have to do in our daily life, and in this way, our family life can become successful. Our brahmachari life can become successful. Any life can become fully successful when we put Prabhupada in the center, when we put Lord Chaitanya in the center, and we regularly discuss about the pastimes of Prabhupada, we discuss about the instructions of Prabhupada again and again and again and again and again. So Prabhupada said that a real physician, an expert physician, is someone who does not change the medicine. So this is a real principle. Because ultimately everyone has their own karma, has their own, so many things. But only by pleasing a pure devotee, like I recently sent a very wonderful excerpt by Gaur Govind Maharaj in Vaishnav Sangha. that how pure devotees pleasure is so powerful. When you become pleased, everything will become change. Everything will become change. So only by their mercy we can maintain anything, any ashram, any society, anything. So that is a basic principle. That is a basic principle. Okay, I would like to end here. Please forgive me for if I spoke anything wrong, inappropriate. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anyone has any question or comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Anupana.
Thank you so much for bringing so many examples from Chaitanya Charitamrita, emphasizing on this point. Just, just for sake of my clarity, can you tell what is the barometer to say if I'm pleasing the pure devotee?
Yeah, I cannot say because I am myself not pleasing, but from what I've heard, uh, you feel that mutual exchange, um, and you feel, regardless of what may be your consciousness, you have that intense desire to please Krishna, and you consider Krishna's service as your supreme occupation, as your supreme, like, and you take great pleasure in sacrificing your pleasure, your comfort for Krishna's happiness. That is, you can say, and ultimately, if you really, really please a pure devotee, the sentiments that he has for Krishna has for Radharani, they descend into the heart. The feelings that they feel become transferred to the heart. So, yeah, this is the real thing. But yeah, it's not something that you can artificially acquire. It takes time, it takes investment. But yeah, this is the thing.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
But yeah, I'm sorry, today's class is too heavy, too revolutionary. But I humbly request everyone to hear proper lectures. You hear proper lectures, you read about Prabhupada, then you see that what we're meant to be doing as devotees, what we're meant to be living as devotees. So I feel the main thing is when we don't hear Prabhupada, na, that's the main problem actually. That is the main problem. Because yes, it is true. Nowadays we are speaking according to time, place, circumstance. But Prabhupada is our founder Acharya. So the way Prabhupada spoke, it's not that Prabhupada spoke according to just that time, that place, that circumstance. Yes, it is true. He spoke also. But the mood, the intense desire to sacrifice your life for Krishna, Prabhupada spread that all over the world. And he broke through Varnashram, he broke through all this men, women, all these ideas and established this principle that whoever you are, you can become a Paramahamsa. Prabhupada says openly in a lecture that yes, we are inviting everyone, come on, we'll make you Paramahamsa immediately. I'm not saying, I'm reading what Prabhupada is saying. So this is so inspiring, this is so elevating for us, isn't it? If your son or daughter, if your family hears this voice of Prabhupada, they say, yes, this is very attractive to me. I want to follow, I want to surrender to Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada is giving such a promise. So if you don't hear Prabhupada, you know, how will you hear these things? And then in the light of Prabhupada, what Prabhupada is saying, then we can understand our Guru also more deeply. Because nowadays our gurus are also speaking different time, say, circumstance. But then when you identify this kind of things, and then subtly when they hint at this kind of moods in their lectures, then you pick up on that. You're like, yes, this is what I want. This is what I want to be all about. I want to surrender to this aspect of Guru. Because the real aspect of Guru is complete, forget your material life, completely destroy your material life, forget everything, and just mentally at least always think of Krishna. This is the real purpose of any Guru. You know, Guru is not interested in anything external ultimately, because otherwise Guru is not Guru. So we have to be very receptive. So We have to be very receptive and perceptive for us to pick up on that. Otherwise, yeah, Guru, we may pick up on so many external things that the Guru may say. And yes, Guru speaks for different audiences, but ultimately, this is Guru's business.
Thank you so much again, Prabhu.
Anyone else has any question or comment?
Amazing class. Prabhu. Today was a real network.
Okay, so nobody else. Again, please forgive me. I hope nobody's offended or nobody's hurt today if I give
No,
a very strong class.
it was really amazing, Prabhu. And what I realized from your class, Sadhu can nicely speak and expertly speak on Grasthashram. The way you spoke today really repeated Prabhupada, really helping like Guru's Seva is the driving force. That was really appealing when you spoke in the Grasthashram. Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Guru and Prabhupada Seva. Actually, the thing is, Guru Seva and Prabhupada Seva are not different. And we have to stress, especially to our kids, our children, we have to stress Prabhupada. We have to play videos of Prabhupada. We have to stress Prabhupada like anything. And especially Prabhupada memories, Prabhupada's dealings. We have to stress these things. Because see, ultimately, everyone wants to be empowered. Every wife, every husband, everyone wants to be, empowered. And the supreme empowerment is pure devotion, pure devotee. That is the supreme empowerment. So Prabhupada gave that empowerment, isn't it? So that's the most attractive thing. That's the most appealing thing is that empowerment, that very strong empowerment. That's what, we need to promote. We need to promote. Then when you hear about what Prabhupada's devotees, they did in the world, it's like they were like not from nowhere, they came and they just like conquered the world. Like this before they came in touch with Prabhupada, who were they and after they came, like what a transformation, like day and night transformation. It's like just see our DVC, like it's impossible to imagine. Just think about it. You just got married, you had a child, and you have to go to London for preaching. You have to change the diapers, you have to do so many things to maintain the baby, and then you have to go to start a center, not maintain. You have to start. Think about how revolutionary this is. This is what Prabhupada did. Prabhupada just put a cross on the word impossible, and Prabhupada did the incredible. Such a transformation Prabhupada brought in the heart of devotees. So this is what Guru Seva means, is to imbibe Guru's love for Prabhupada. Actually, this is what Guru Seva means, surrender to Guru means. Imbibe Guru's intense love, intense sacrifice for Prabhupada. Then automatically we will Prabhupada will take care, Guru will take care of establish our relationship to divine couple for sure. They will take care. Mhm. So please pray for me. You're all very exemplary. Please forgive me for making anything wrong and inappropriate. Hare Krishna.
And Prabhu, very inspired by your, Prabhupada Lilamrut thing. I'm so many classes, your classes, I'm hearing repeatedly Prabhupada Lilamrut. And please pray for me at least that I should again visit because many temples in India during lunch time, Prasadam is serving and somebody is reading for all the devotees. They are honoring Prasad, temple resident. So it is so inspiring. And then they go to book distribution Harinam in the evening. So really, thank you. Please bless us so that we'll start reading Prabhupada Lilamrut again.
Yeah, at least we should try to hear Prabhupada lecture during Prasadam time. See, at least in Prasadam time, the family, no, nobody can go anywhere, right? So that time, before anyone start talking, just play Prabhupada class. Of course, sometime you have to talk also, but just play Prabhupada class and don't talk. You see what the magic happens. Everyone feels so good, so happy, and you start playing again and again and again. They will start purchasing Prabhupada. So when they start purchasing Prabhupada means that's it, done. Like Prabhupada's just incredible, incredible. Like I'm nobody, but I remember when I first came to Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada just made one statement. I was so attached to playing tennis actually. It's just like my day and night was like tennis, 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 watching tennis match, thinking of tennis player, day and night, only tennis, nothing else. Sleeping, eating, everything tennis only. And Prabhupada made one statement. The Prabhupada said, this tennis is, you should not play tennis. This is complete nonsense. And like when I first heard that statement, I felt very heartbroken that why Prabhupada is saying. But somehow, then after that, I just completely lost interest. So even though I did not purchase Prabhupada with a receptive heart, still this is the power of Prabhupada's words. And just I read somewhere, so this is the power of Prabhupada's words. They are so powerful. You have no idea what they can do. Day and night transformation can happen. Prabhupada and pure devotee. So actually, it is our business. It's our business is to establish this unflinching faith in Prabhupada and Guru. This is our first business actually as a grahastha in our family. We have to quote Prabhupada again and again. And Prabhupada is doing this, Prabhupada Gurus like that. We have to quote and we have to show by example. I mean, speak for myself. I myself am not doing it. Yeah, this is what we have to do. Again, please forgive me. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha कृपासिंधुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो कोटि वैष्णव जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai.
Sham Kishore Prabhu ki jai. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Prabhuji. Krishna.